Welcome to the Massage Therapy Podcast. I'm Heather Rivers, RMT.
And I'm Nicole Andrews, RMT and contemporary medical acupuncturist.
We're registered massage therapists in Ontario, Canada. We're colleagues with almost 13 years of combined experience and female small business owners who have a passion for health and wellness. We want to note that we are practicing COVID-19 physical distancing, and so we are recording remotely. We take these global concerns seriously and have suspended our hands-on practice, which has allowed us to pivot our focus on this dream project. Hopefully, the MTP can offer you a way to disconnect from the pandemic stress and connect as a community. So today we wanted to talk about a word that has become dirty in the massage world. It's so dirty, Nicole, that I don't think our listeners will be able to hear this. Are you ready, everybody? The word is relaxation.
Dun, dun, dun.
So this has definitely been on our mind, this topic for this podcast for a while. I think it's something that has kind of really pushed us in the direction of doing this podcast. And we're hoping that our last recording of chronic pain will lead into how important this topic of conversation is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this might have been like the topic that made us be like, we need to rant about this somehow. And we're like, let's do a podcast about it.
Because we rant to each other and we solve all the world's problems to each other.
We do.
Thought maybe we should record this and let other people listen and see if they agree or disagree. That's fine.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's probably some polarizing ideas on the topic of relaxation and how it falls into massage therapy. You and I agree on it, actually, which is why we're going to rant about it. But definitely out there in the relaxation term and world, I think it's something, especially now during a pandemic, I think it's something that we need to talk about, because also with all of that, as massage therapists, we were recently deemed non-essential, which I think feel like it sort of all comes into all of this. So we're going to rant about relaxation and massage therapy and see where it takes us.
Because I do have also mixed feelings about the fact that we were deemed non-essential. So
the terminology there, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if we're not essential. I think maybe we're non-emergency. Yes. Maybe that's a term we can use. Yeah. Non-essential, I don't know if is the right word for us or anybody in the RHPA that was considered non-essential. I think we'd all beg to differ. We're not non-essential, not non-important. We're just non-emergency service, which I can take. I'm okay with not being emergency. I get that, but yeah.
Kind of one reason why I went into massage was because I was non-emergency.
Yes, which we touched on in the last podcast, right? So you get it.
Yes. So Nicole kind of created a nice some questions for us that'll hopefully keep us on track today.
We'll see.
And not let us veer off too much on our rants. So where do you want to start with that?
Why don't we start with how your intro went? Why don't we start with, why is relaxation such a dirty word in the massage therapy realm? Maybe you can give your take on it first, and I can kind of just latch on.
Alrighty. So I have a lot of reasons, I think, why massage is a dirty word. I think it depends on what perspective you're looking at it from. I think to kind of start it all off, I think massage therapists want to distance themselves and create them like a separate entity and vision of what we do from other body workers and estheticians who can provide massage as well, but as well as sexual work, body work in that realm. We want to separate ourselves, and I agree with that 100%. So I think it all comes down to terminology. I have big letters written here. Terminology is key with this. I think RMTs want to focus on it. What we do is therapeutic, and so it gets lost in translation where we say what we do is therapeutic, not relaxation, because everybody looks at aesthetics, massage, bodywork massage as just relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that therapeutic and relaxation are on two different spectrums. Like, I don't think that they're either end of the spectrum. I think they can be one and the same.
Absolutely.
So I think for like me, I think that that ideology comes from school, like in the sense of what's the first thing you learn as a massage therapist in school when it comes to treatment? You learn relaxation.
Yes.
And then it kind of, when you get into your upper years, whether it's second, third years of you start focusing on therapeutic massage, and almost this therapeutic massage in the sense of you're treating injuries, you're treating conditions,
mm-hmm.
and you're kind of getting away from relaxation in the sense of like so much of what we need to know to pass our OSCEs and MCQ and treat safely with the public, we have to understand how to treat conditions and the contraindications and the risks. And that does take a lot of time to learn. But I think because so much focus gets put on that to keep the public safe, which I 100% agree with, we kind of, the relaxation massage, and for our listeners, every time I say relaxation, that is in quotes, kind of gets put on the back burner and kind of seen as, oh, that's for the beginners, that's for the newbies type of idea. So I think that it's kind of stems from that, but not because of anybody, one institution, or anybody's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think that's just kind of what comes out of the schooling, because you end thinking, okay, now I've learned all this, like how to treat these things, but all the conditions and the injuries that you learned how to treat with therapeutic massage, relaxation massage is an indication for all of those. Like, it's never a contraindication for any of those things.
For sure. Yeah, it's a pillar. I use relaxation, and again, we're all using the air quotes, as a pillar to every single one of my treatment plans. And like you said, I think because it's one of the first things we learn and it's quote unquote easy, it kind of gets lost. But when you really look at what we're doing with relaxation, it's not necessarily easy. I think what makes a great RMT, someone who has mastered that like very basic, very like core skill. I mean, I don't know about you, but I do find that a lot of like new people wandering into the massage therapy realm in terms of clients generally find their way because they're looking for something to help them like decompress, de-stress, and massage therapy has like this big foothold in that relaxation department, and that you like sort of realm of like treatment. Like you think about other therapies, chiro, physio, osteopath, like all of them, none of them touch on this relaxation thing. It's not what they do. And I think that's again another reason why a lot of RMTs are trying to get away from the term relaxation, is because we want to be with them, right? We want to be a part of the big player game, which we are. But I don't think we should take away something so unique that we bring to the table. I think it takes a very skilled, very knowledgeable therapist to give a really good relaxation massage. And when I say relaxation, I don't mean putting someone to sleep, although I take that as a huge compliment. Yeah. It's not my goal. But when I say relaxation, I really mean that ability to sort of hone in on someone's central and peripheral nervous system. Because I think along with your terminology of what relaxation is, I think your intent behind the relaxation is really a big part of it too. Like, are you just trying to have someone feel like calm and cool, relaxed, which isn't just, I shouldn't say the word just, is that your intent, which is fine? Or are you using the relaxation techniques for a different purpose? Are you trying to get them to sort of calm down so that you're able to really work on the other things that are happening in their body. Because as we know, when you're really, really wound up, we have a really hard time letting any other good things come in, whether you're on a massage therapy table or not, right? When we're in that fight and flight, your body is in like fight and flight mode. So I think that's where the relaxation pillar kind of like starts. And I know that's why I sort of start with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree what you're saying too, and especially with the I that was one of my notes too, is like being able to run with the other medical professionals that we feel like, if we don't aren't seen as therapeutic, if we aren't seen as like we can fix this condition or fix this injury, we're going to fall behind compared to our colleagues of different skills, chiropractors, physios, anything like that, kinesiologists, I lump into there too.
Yes.
Like if we don't run and do exactly what they're doing, we're not seen on the same level, which I don't think is true in the slightest. And I think massage therapists, if they think that, and I'm going to say a bold statement right now, I feel if you think that you have to run with that and really distance yourself from this relaxation bubble that you have put out, that you're doing a disservice to A, your clients, B, your industry, and C, your business. Like
I agree
100%.
Yeah, bold or not, I think that's true, and I think it's what makes us unique. Like when I wrote down sort of the questions that were like stemming from like why is relaxation such a dirty word, and then my next question was like, why is it considered less than? And I think it's because no one else does it. I think it's because any like massage itself, the act of massage, is not a controlled act. So when we are in the RHPA with other regulated health professionals, most of them have some sort of controlled act that makes it so nobody else can do it. And to your point earlier, we are trying to distance ourselves from other like people in the industry that are doing like other massage and body work and other things like that, and esthetician. Not that what they do is bad. No. We just have a different education. And again, our intent with our treatments are different. So I don't know if I have a concrete answer as to like why it's considered less than. I think it just, and I don't even know where it started. I remember being in school and it being like a big thing. And I remember it not being bad. And I don't remember it ever being a problem. And then at some point over the last 10 years, it started to become synonymous with like fluff. And like, oh, I don't do the fluff stuff. And it's like, what do you mean the fluff? Like, what are you doing? Are you not starting with the massage like principles of the specific general? Like, are you just telling me that because you're not going straight into it and you're like prepping their whole body as a holistic view, that like you're now not being therapeutic? Like, I don't understand. Like, what, I've never done fluff in my whole life, and I use massage relaxation techniques in every single treatment. There's not one treatment that I haven't used some sort of relaxation technique in 11 years. Like, it is always my start off. And I don't know. I mean, everyone's career, everyone's clientele looks a little differently, but I don't know what this fluff is. And if anybody could like let me know what the definition of that is, I would really like someone to clarify that for me.
Yeah, I've heard it from both clients, which worries me, that they come in, they're like, I don't really like the fluff. So if we can get away from the fluff type massage, and my first question is, what do you define fluff as? And usually it's kind of like, well, anything that's tickly.
Yes.
Like, okay, well, that's definitely not what I do. Tickle.
Tickle.
I don't tickle.
Yeah.
But if you are a ticklish person, like, please let me know, and I maybe will avoid those areas or approach those areas, because some people have like really ticklish feet or legs or whatever it is, just due to heightened sensitivity either by the nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, or the central nervous system. But anyways, but I also do hear it. I've heard it from colleagues that when talking, and I like to ask a lot of questions of like, why did you get into massage, or what does your clinic look like or feel like, or what's the vibe that you put out? I like to ask other massage therapists around us what they do, and I've come across a few that say, well, I don't do the fluff. And in my head, I'm like, I don't I feel like, again, we're doing a disservice to our industry and our colleagues if we're allowing those terms to perpetuate along. And so when I asked them, um, okay, so what do you mean by fluff? And they're like, well, the relaxation. Like I only do hard hitting, like therapeutic treatment, get in, they have an injury, I fix the injury, and then I send them on their way. And I said, oh, okay, can I ask like why you don't do the fluff? What, why do you stay away from it? Do you find you your heart lays in this injury rehab? And they just said straight out, they didn't feel like they were good at it. That's why they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So back to when you had said when, in school or that's easy. Relaxation massage is seen as like that's the easy. I don't think it necessarily is. It's a hard skill to hone, and I think a massage therapist through their entire career, lifelong career, won't fully master it until that 10,000 hours have put in or whatever you want later in their career, and their techniques will change over time, and but to give a really good, to have the right tempo, the right pressure, the right kind of rhythmic, and I'm even going to put in like the energy that you're kind of even giving off in that room, that takes a lot of practice, because sometimes I come out of that room and I can think of a few clients off the top of my head that I've come out of the room and given a whole body wellness relaxation treatment, because I'm going to say relaxation treatment from now on, or therapeutic relaxation massage. And I can tell like one day my energy was just really attuned to what is happening in this room. And I walked out feeling healed just as much as they felt healed. Like they came out of the room pretty well in tears because of how much relief they got just from, just in quotes, just a relaxation massage. And another day, same client, same type of treatment, and like either one of our energies weren't there, or one of our energies weren't there, both or either. And it was a little bit different. They still felt the benefit coming out, but it was a little bit off. So I think that takes years to hone in that technique. And again, I asked this person later, like they said that they had somebody come in and they wanted a relaxation massage. So they thought, okay, well, I'm going to give it, the good old college try and do as best as I can. And they said their client came out and said it was absolutely fantastic. So again, that's where's that block in therapists' minds out there, like that relaxation is, again, less than, it's a dirty word. I don't do that. That's beneath me. Do they feel like it is truly beneath them, or do they feel like I'm not good at it, so I'm just going to take my direction, turn my attention the other way, my focus somewhere else, right? Like I don't know. And then it worries me, sorry to keep going.
No, that's okay. I love it. Keep going.
What worries me is then, let's say a client comes in and says, I don't want that fluff, I don't want relaxation. And I am concerned about the therapist's reaction of, does their reaction, oh, don't worry, I don't do that stuff. That's, oh, I don't do the fluff. Don't worry about it. I'll do tissue. Or is it an approach of, how do you define fluff?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what it comes down to, is the definition of the terms are so drastically different between people. And I think depending on how a practitioner reacts to that statement is really, it doesn't stop at that one client.
No.
That client then takes that and perpetuates it into society more and into the public more of, oh, well, my RMT reacted this way, so then therefore relaxation is less than. And then they talk to XYZ coworker, family member, friend who's like, oh yeah, I went to one of the spas around here and I had a great relaxation massage. And then it's, oh, well, that's nothing. That's less than the massage I had. Not as beneficial, when I would argue that they're both beneficial in their own way.
Yeah, and you made a point, and I wrote it down. like earlier you were saying, sort of for some reason there's this disconnect between like relaxation and deep tissue. I don't know what that is all about either. You can use, in fact, deep tissue, long, deep strokes are actually relaxing, and light, quick strokes are invigorating. So that notion that deep therapeutic massage is not relaxing is completely off in terms of what like any sort of biological, scientific, anything will tell you. We are taught that very basic like information when we were in school. You want this type of outcome, you want to stimulate someone's nervous system, you want to awaken them, use short, light strokes, you want that you want them to be calm, relaxed, use deeper, more pressure, longer, slower strokes. So that deep tissue and relaxation not being the same is not true in any way, shape, or form. With that, sort of like kind of reeling it sort of like all the way back, relaxation in psychology, I sort of did some definition because you're talking about term looking up. Sort of relaxation in psychology is the emotional state of living in low tension, in which there is an absence of arousal that could come from sources such as anger, anxiety, or fear. And according to the Oxford Dictionary, relaxation is when the body and mind are free from tension and anxiety. So when you look at our scope of practice as registered massage therapists, we treat the soft tissues and joints of the body to prevent dysfunction and pain. And according to the Oxford Dictionary, relaxation is when the physical body and the mind are free from tension. We treat hypertonicity in the body. So when you're talking about relaxation and how it sort of works into massage therapy, we have a very, very cool, like very direct ability to work on someone's like body, mind, like social, psycho, like paradigm with this really awesome relaxation tool. It literally gives you direct access to someone's central and peripheral and like nervous system in a way, like I had mentioned earlier, like a lot of other therapies don't really spend the time to, because we do spend so much time with our clients. Most treatments are 30, 45, 60, 90 minutes long. And we physically have our hands on someone. We have the ability to really like get in on those types of conditions that most don't. So I think it's kind of like it's definitely a disservice to ourselves as therapists to not correct that terminology, like you were saying. I know I have a lot of clients that they come in and they're like, I want therapeutic massage. I want it deep. I don't want like relaxation. And every single time I tell them, and I started this, I don't know, somewhere probably in the third year of my career or so, I started saying, well, you will note that my massage starts off more light, more general, more relaxing. And then I get into the more therapeutic part. And I tell them it's for me to be able to prep their body, the canvas I'm working on, to be able to do the work that we want to do. Because like everyone can understand, if your, let's just say, bicep is sore and you're really anxious about it hurting and the pain and what it's going to do, you're going to hold it. You're mentally going to guard it. And then how do I get into the ability to lengthen and relax and work on that trigger point if I am not even able to get the rest of the whole muscle to relax? Because a trigger point is literally a hyper irritable spot in a top band of muscles. So if I can't work the whole muscle itself, like that top band, how am I going to work the hyper irritable spot? Like it's counterintuitive to think that you can just go in there, drive in with an elbow and come out and you're good to go and not be working on any other part of
well,
that.
In a sense, just like you're saying, to get into the nitty gritty, if you're going to work this hypersensitive trigger point without addressing the rest of the muscles, general muscle guarding or muscle holding patterns, and you then go in and address this hypersensitive spot that then is now going to get more irritable, which in most cases, their pain sensitivity is going to go up, what's going to happen? That muscle is going to guard or do the holding more. And I know massage therapists out there listening. How many times have you went to go work on your client's head, neck, shoulders, and they're holding their head up, and you're sitting there just going, relax, and kind of doing these little rocking motions that we've learned, because then that brings their awareness to that spot, and then they relax and let go. I know I do it myself. How many times do we all of us walk around in a day and have to stop and be like, oh my God, relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw. It's our body's reaction to stress is to guard, and especially if there's pain, then the body's stress in that area goes up, and we hold those areas. So if we can address early in the treatment, or start off the treatment telling the body through our long strokes or general specific general, saying, this is the state I want you to enter in this relaxation. I call it that meditative state between, I want you in that just before you fall asleep, what's going on, but your eyes are closed. You're kind of internal, you're thinking, you're focused on your deep breaths, and get you to that state, and then work those hypersensitive areas. You get so much more out of it, both as a practitioner and a client. Like you will probably decrease the hypersensitive area better, and you might even get some more length in the muscle. The hypertonicity is going to go down, everything. And they're going to feel a whole lot better if it's kind of like you're setting up the treatment from the beginning in this, like, this is the state I want you to go into, and then we're going to kind of do this treatment work, however that is, and whatever that looks like for you and your client, and then finish off, because when you finish off in that, again, back to general relaxation, this is the spot I want you to now leave in, is kind of, like I said, I think in our last podcast, it ties it up in a little pretty bow for them, and they kind of forget, maybe that deeper work that was a little uncomfortable or a little bit more painful, if it was fascial work and all this, you're just kind of tying it up in a pretty bow, and the brain kind of forgets, the body kind of forgets that tenderness from before, and you send them out the door in that relaxive state, I think is super, super important.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with your note on sort of like prepping and the field and beginning and ending, a lot of therapists totally forget that when people come in, 90% of the time they're in that fight and flight. Whether it be mental stress or physical stress, like they're hurting, they're pain, like our last thing on like chronic pain and chronic injuries and things like that, that takes a huge toll on your nervous system. So we have like your peripheral and central nervous system, and then the good old, we have your fight and flight, right? Your sympathetic nervous system, and then we have your parasympathetic nervous system. And I think the intent with relaxation massage, at least what I took from school and what I've sort of like taken over the years, is the relaxation massage is really us looking at working on and activating that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, right? So the little reading, just to sort of like brush up on all of this, because it's one of those things like, because I've been doing it so long, sometimes I'm like, did I make that up? Like, is that something I just like kind of like decided that's a thing that massage does? But anyway, so I went back and I went all the way back, and I was like, okay, so what does our parasympathetic nervous system sort of regulate and control, if that's what relaxation is doing? And it regulates your blood pressure, your heart rate, your respiration, digestion, urination, secretion, sexual response, pupillary response, all of these things. So it's like, okay, so if that's what our intent is with the relaxation, is to sort of enter into this parasympathetic activated nervous system so we can start some healing. I was like, I'll take it one step further. If those are the things that the parasympathetic nervous system activates, and we're calling that fluff, if that's what we're working on, if we don't treat that, what are some of the things that can go wrong, like dysfunction wise? And so I went and I looked up and I did like a very general Google search of like, anyone can do it. What are like the things that long, uncontrolled stress, being in fight and flight on the body can do?
Yeah.
And funny thing, the main things that not controlling your sympathetic nervous system is heart attack, Alzheimer's, lung cancer, stroke, digestive issues, diabetes, lower respiratory tract infections, chronic kidney failure. Like literally, those are all the things that the parasympathetic nervous system regulates. So when you are in fight and flight all the time, your parasympathetic nervous system totally gets overrun. And I think with our talking, we've kind of shared how we look at our treatments as more of like a global sort of thing. Like we're treating a body, we're not treating a limb or a muscle specifically. I mean, we are, but we look at a person as a whole.
Yeah.
So someone comes in with chronic headaches and we go, oh, you know what? It's a trigger point from your upper trap referring up into that question mark. Okay, that's great. So we're treating a trigger point, but like, why are you getting such hypertonic traps? Like, what is happening, right? Stress. You have a really stressful job. You have a really stressful home life, or you know what I mean? Like, it
positional stresses.
Yes, exactly, right? So when you look at relaxation as like a treatment, you're really treating some like really cool like organ systems too. So it's not just like, it's not fluff. And I don't know how it like really upsets me when it's like, oh, it's fluff. Like, how can that be fluff? Like, how can we helping like regulate a whole sense of like your nervous system and helping regulate and having your body find that homeostasis between the two be fluff? Right. And I mean, like some RMTs might feel like that's overstepping in some way, saying being like, oh, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, are you really doing that? And you can find study after study after study after study where massage therapy has been tested to see if they decrease cortisol levels and saliva and other secretions. Does it decrease blood pressure? And it's because of some of the easiest things for them to actually study. You can do not really a double blind study, but you can do a double like control group with massage, right? Give one group, I saw one study where they did some breathing techniques and some stretching, and another group actually got two half-an-hour massages a week for 5 weeks, so 10 massages in total. And for each group, they tested their saliva cortisol levels, their blood pressure, and their heart rate before and after they did their treatments or their breathing exercises. And it was absolutely off the chart how much lower the person who had the massage therapy, blood pressure went down, heart rate went down, cortisol, that is a hormone in your body, and just from someone massaging you for 30 minutes twice a week managed to decrease it. And we all know how many like conditions out there are strictly like in illnesses are based on the fact that they've had long-standing stress. Right? Long-standing like episodes where cortisol is too high and it just has ravaged somebody's body, right?
So I was just gonna follow up on that. You know, we're kind of sounds like we're bad mouthing the somatic nervous system. Which is like the opposite. The sympathetic, sorry, not the somatic, the sympathetic nervous system, bad mouthing it compared to the parasympathetic. The sympathetic nervous system is super important in our lives. Like one thing I wanted to note that I thought was really cool, again, looking things up and remembering things that we had learned, that the sympathetic nervous system actually spikes right before we wake up. Meaning that like it is very involved in our sleep-wake cycles, and without it we don't really wake up. Like we need that like that adrenaline, that cortisol to flush through our system to bring us back to the world in a sense of waking up to the forefront. And this the sympathetic nervous system is involved again with the fight or flight. So bringing it back to not within the society that we are in North America, I'll say, and most parts of the world, where that is used for this sympathetic nervous system is used for to run to get your food, to do this, to keep you away from danger, like those kinds of things. But it's supposed to peak and spike to get you through whatever stressful situation. But the key is that stressful situation is supposed to be short in comparison to what we deal with now, because of how our society runs, how, you know, the demands placed on us at home, the demands placed on us at work, how to be involved, again, in quotes, in this society, like how to act like a proper member in society places stress, and, you know, you fit into this box and you better stay in that box. Like all those stresses add up and can, to the point that we always have this level of cortisone that's flowing through our system that our body isn't geared to have, doesn't have the manual to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And its manual to deal with that is to continuously have the cortisol. And then, like you said, that leads, high levels of cortisol over prolonged periods of time leads to heart failure, heart attacks, blood pressure problems, kidney problems, other organs, because it's not meant to flow through your system like it is for us. And yeah, so we're not completely bad mouthing.
No, sympathetic, no.
but as you had said earlier, that we're us as massage therapists need to own this fact that we're here to balance that. Like that should be one of our priorities. And we affect the nervous system. Chiropractors affect the nervous system. Physiotherapists, kinesiologists, everybody affects the nervous system, but in our own different ways. And some of those ways overlap. Like, yes, do we do low grade joint modes? Yes. And so do chiropractors, and so do physiotherapists, but the chiropractors also do high amplitude, high velocity, or high grade joint modes, and help with blockages in the sense of compression on nerves. So like messages aren't getting through the nerves. So they're kind of, a lot of a chiropractors, this is from a massage therapist point of view, are kind of more of thinking of that motor neuron where it's going from the brain out. And yes, some sensory as well, but they think of it in that way of stopping the blockages, and physios the same as chiropractors, and sometimes more in the peripheral nervous system, like TOS and nerve flossing, things like that, which we also do and chiropractors can do. But I think it's unique how we approach the nervous system that the others don't. And just to reflect off of what you said, is like they all can do what we do. It's in their scope of practice, but they don't do it as well as we do, just like we don't do joint mobilizations as well as a chiropractor does, or exercise prescription, movement prescription as well as a physio or a kinesiologist does. And the way that we affect the nervous system is wild, and I don't think we should be discrediting that and marking that as quote unquote fluff or just relaxation and it's beneath us. Like, I think if we want to raise above and get ourselves on this platform with we need to lean into that more and own the fact that, you know, no, you guys can't do what we do when it comes to this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I made a note too, as you were talking about like society and the society we sort of live in and how to fit in. Just relaxation in our society is looked as a complete luxury. It's hustle, 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 go, go, go all the time. And the fact that we all have to actively carve out time to relax and to decompress is mind-boggling. The fact that we have to live in this high, like crazy stress, like go world, and that like the relaxation and just like allowing our bodies and our minds just to be is like the luxury piece is something that I think we as a whole have to look at. And honestly, that's, I think, where massage like is really cool. Like it comes into a place, because massage therapy for a long time, and still kind of is sort of seen as like a, it's sort of seen as like a luxury thing. I don't know how many times I've had clients come in and be like, oh, I was telling my coworkers today that I was going for massage. Like, oh, must be nice. And I love the clients I've been seeing long enough. They go, well, it is nice, but I'm not just going there just to like lie on the table. Like she's doing actual therapy, right? You know what I mean? Which is funny that they say that, because relaxation is such like a strong pillar of like my treatment building. So it's funny that they don't even see it as relaxation. You know what I mean? Even though it is, they don't see like the building blocks on it all as relaxation. To go, you know, I go and she beats me up, and I think like you've said this before, like I'm not like a beater up type of therapist. So it's funny that that's the perception that clients get, but I think it comes to the terminology RMTs are sort of throwing around and using. So if you say to an RMT, I don't want relaxation, I want therapy, and then they go in and they get relaxation as a therapy, but they feel amazing, the next time they go somewhere, they're going to say those same words because they think that is what got them the treatment they were looking for. And it's like, no, that's not it. I just did what I did and sort of was like, okay, I won't do relaxation in quotation marks, even though I'm going to use the techniques that cause your body to relax, your muscle hypertonicity to relax, because we're literally I don't know. It's funny that the term relax and relaxation are two different things somehow. Like I would like your muscles to relax. That's what we do. It's literally what we do, but I don't do relaxation. Like I'm literally getting your muscles to go into a relaxation mode. So I don't know. I think we need to really like clear the playing field with this whole relaxation term. That's, I think, where our rant stemmed. Is like, I don't know, maybe like you get this too, like when therapists do say things like, oh, I don't do fluff or I don't do relaxation, I kind of want to be like, oh, neither do I. You know what I mean? Because if I say, oh, like it totally is something that I do, people are like, oh, really? Like what kind of practice? You just have people come in and they just fall asleep on your table. And I was like, no. You know what I mean? Like how come now I'm looked down on as a registered massage therapist?
Judged. Yeah, you're being judged and you don't want to be judged. Or, you know, we all have this like in us, you know, you want to fit in with the cool kids kind of mentality, and relaxation isn't cool, so I better not say I do it. Well, I'm saying screw that. Screw it. I'm over it. I used to be that person. And then, as I said, and you just mentioned, you know, with your treatment, you don't get really deep. You're probably one of the lightest therapists I've ever had, lightest treatment I've ever had in my life, but you are probably one of the top, if not the top two, one of the top two that has like had the most success with what my quote unquote my issues or what I feel my problems are, that you've addressed them. You're one of two people that have actually addressed them, but you've had the lightest touch. And everybody is different. Everybody's nervous system, everybody's system is different, and there's different therapies for every person. But I'm calling BS on this like fit in with the cool kids type of mentality, because I think a lot of, there's a couple more reasons why I think that a lot of this, it's beneath us, is also how it comes down to this looking down on spa massage and relating spa massage, equating spa massage to relaxation massage. So relaxation, you know, when people address it, oh, I don't want relaxation, really they're meaning they don't want a spa massage. Well, I don't even like, and again, I used to be that, like, I'm never going to work in a spa, because again, I feel a little bit that comes from school. I felt that if it was there or not, like, you don't want to work in a spa. But so many more therapists, RMTs, are working in spas because the spas are realizing if they employ RMTs, more people are going to come to the spa because they can use their benefits for the spa.
Exactly.
I have a lot of peers that I went to school with that are working in spas in Ontario, and they never thought that they would have ended up in a spa, and they love it.
And they're great therapists too. They're not any less than anyone else. they're not doing any less work, right?
They're amazing therapists. And I think that they kind of have a more well-rounded scope or skill set because they've perfected more quickly that quote unquote relaxation based massage, that relaxation therapeutic massage, as well as that injury therapeutic massage.
Go hand in hand.
Yeah. And I think so. I think that whole, now that there's more RMTs in spas and are approaching their treatments, even if they are getting a, you know, somebody's signed up for a aromatherapy massage, or I know some of them do like body treatments, body wraps, or like exfoliations followed by a massage, that they're still treating them and addressing their concerns, as well as keeping in mind if they have any, you know, high blood pressure and things like that. They're approaching it from that sense, keeping the client safe. I don't know. I don't think that we can now equate even looking down on, like, I don't think as a profession we should even be looking down on spa massage. I don't think that we should have been anyway, even if it was estheticians, because they deserve the respect that they deserve.
Absolutely.
We demand respect from the aesthetic community and bodywork community. We should be showing them respect in the sense, because really what differs between them and us is this this term that's protected because we did school, and yes, that deserves respect, and we are approaching from a therapeutic, that gives us the therapeutic sense of approaching things with their conditions in mind, whether that be high blood pressure, if they, you know, had a digit or a limb amputation and concerns around the nervous system with that and the circulatory system with that, if they have COPD, if they have asthma, like, we have the knowledge to look at the contraindications and the risks and know what techniques work for some people. But like I said earlier, what technique is always indicated pretty well, no matter what you're treating, what condition, from cancer to a sprained thumb, is relaxation, which, what do we call that? Is that Swedish techniques, basically?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's
it. To define it to that, if that it should be like, I don't want a whole treatment of Swedish techniques. If somebody came to me with that, I don't want a whole treatment of Swedish techniques, I would be like, oh, okay. So we'll start with sub, and then we'll get into some trigger point and techniques, things like that. We'll still address that. But just, I don't think the definition of relaxation is the same across the board between therapists as well as between the general public. And I think because as therapists, we aren't all on the same page of that definition and how we view it, it's creating confusion and chaos in the general public.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not really I mean, I guess, like, we've touched on, like, sort of where it may have stemmed and where it kind of comes from, and us differentiating. I think it also comes with, because massage therapists, I think we all kind of have this sense that we're always trying to, like, be validated, like, especially right now in, like, the time we're in and how we're not considered essential. I think as RMTs, we really get this, like, blow to our ego, I guess you can say, where we feel like we don't deserve to be there. Even though we've been regulated for 101 years.
In Ontario,
In Ontario, right? So I think we're always trying to get that validation, and we always feel like it's only like one mess up, one something away from it being taken from us and us being just another body worker. And I don't think we need to look at that. I think we need to have the confidence in knowing what our education is. We have to have the confidence in knowing that even just body workers who work at spas that aren't RMTs, who are giving relaxation, it is a lot different. I recently had a client come to me and say that they went to a spa and they've had a lot of massage in their day, and to their own accord, they're pretty critical of it. So I'm pretty happy that they think that mine's okay. It's pretty good, I guess. Okay, they come back. So they told me that they went and they asked for just relaxation. because that's all they were looking for. And they said it had been a while since they had gone and just asked for a relaxation massage, and it was apparent to them how different the relaxation was. Do you know what I mean? Like the intent of the relaxation was different. He said he could tell that they were just trying to like put them to sleep, which is what he asked for. But he has fallen asleep on my table too, and he does not, and you know what I mean? So it's interesting that we feel like we can't be lumped into we're going to be lumped into some sort of like group of, I don't even know. It's like, I feel like as RMTs, we really need to just really know like where we stand. I really wish that RMTs could like own that this is like a really great thing that we do. Like we are able to like really work on like a piece of society, like a really big piece of like healthcare in society that no one else does. Like other than psychologists and counselors who work on people's like stress, like, and people going to yoga and exercise, you know what I mean? Like we are one of those like big things, and we need to like really, I think, grasp that and emerge, because one of the biggest emerging issues we're having in healthcare are people dealing with stress and anxiety and, you know, like mental health issues. And massage therapy, I think, and massage therapy and relaxation massage and therapeutic massage, I think we can really help that sector of people. And I think we're doing ourselves total disservice thinking that that's not what we do. It doesn't have to be your focus. I think for us, it has, because I found it over and over again to be a really great starting point for my clients. But it doesn't have to be a focus. You can have someone in there, and they're there for a torn rotator cuff injury. Relaxation doesn't even have to be a word that you use. But I think if you think that you're not working on that rest and digest, that parasympathetic nervous system while you're in there, whatever way you want to define that as, you're definitely not seeing the whole picture at all, right?
Yeah.
Because our brain controls everything. Coming back to that, our brain controls it all. So if you do not incorporate that into your treatment in some way, if you don't want to call it relaxation, then that's totally fine. But if you don't incorporate that in some way, you're definitely not going to get that whole injury at all, I don't think.
Yeah. So to kind of elaborate off of that, I came across a pretty, as an RMT, gut-wrenching article.
Oh yeah.
And this might be a whole other podcast, and if we could get this guy on, I would love to, because honestly, I read this article and it was published like just a month ago, and it was called Does Massage Therapy Work? And it was published by Paul Ingram, who used to be a massage therapist out in British Columbia, and now he's no longer. So I don't want to go too much into this article, but if you're a massage therapist or whoever out there, you can find him at painscience.com. He has so many articles, and honestly, this article brought a lot of one reason why I left massage. These were some of the things that were swirling around in my mind, but he did follow up that article with an article called Reassurance for RMTs. So read both of them. But I just wanted to touch on that in his article, Does Massage Therapy Work? It is a very lengthy article, and he goes into a lot of depth, talking about trying to find the difference between the scientific evidence-based approach, the clinical-based approach, and the stuff out there that might be, I'm just going to say that it's controversial. I'm going to leave that at that. And in his article, he discussed that the only proven evidence, so proven in the sense of it meets the minimum requirements of a properly done double-blind study with the proper sample size and all of that, the only proven evidence for massage is that it decreases anxiety and depression.
Yep.
Right there.
Absolutely.
So, and that was a study done by Dr. Christopher Moore, and his article is called Effective Massage Therapy from 2018. We'll put all the links of that stuff in the description boxes below as well. And Dr. Boyer, from his article, states that the emphasis should be placed on, when it comes to massage therapy, we should be focusing on decreasing anxiety and depression, which means priority is focusing on the parasympathetic nervous system and bringing people into this rest and digest. And how do you achieve that? Through relaxation therapeutic techniques. Not always necessarily digging your elbow in there and being a jackhammer doesn't necessarily cause people to be that just can shoot up the sympathetic nervous system versus the parasympathetic. So I thought that was a really, like I said, that there's times when I was reading that article that I was like, why am I a massage therapist anymore? But then trust me, when you go read the reassurance for RMTs, it just talks on how it's hard. I think brings it full circle again in talking about, we're trying to be seen as medical professionals, but it's also difficult to get that true evidence-based scientific approach and complete studies done that there are no biases in it, either from the people creating the study or the clients. Because if a client knows they're signing up to be involved in a massage therapy and then they get put into a control group where they're not getting a massage, right there's already a bias. There's already a bias, a placebo. They think in this, they called it a placebo, a fake placebo, where you kind of, the group that might be put into the control is now more angry and more disappointed because they're put into the control, they're not getting massage. So now all of a sudden their mental state has changed, which means that their pain sensation or whatever they're measuring might change. It's affected, and vice versa. If they're put into the massage group, you might see a bigger change because their mental status has changed. And I think that's what's so difficult with massage therapy when it comes, not only can we set up proper double-blind studies, but also we are that bridge. And it kind of, when you mentioned about therapy and counseling, we're kind of almost that bridge between the physical therapists, physios, massage, osteopathics, kinesiologists, and the counseling psychological realm. I really truly feel like we are that bridge between the two, because we are treating both at the same time, especially you and I, knowing that we take the biopsychosocial approach to most things, most of our treatments. But as massage therapists, because again, our priority is the nervous system, in the specifically the parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system. So that's one thing where I think it's difficult, and where people start looking down on relaxation, because it's this push to be more evidence-based, but then at the same time it's hard to be more evidence-based. But then the proper evidence that we have now saying that we can decrease anxiety and depression, which is huge in our society right now, and is a big, I don't want to say burden, because as somebody with anxiety, and that's my one thing, is I never want to feel like I'm a burden on somebody, but it is taking a lot of money, putting a lot of money, stress on our healthcare system. So why, as massage therapists, are we not owning up to, like, here's scientific evidence saying that we can help decrease mood disorders, and we're not like, hey guys, come over here and see us and help those that maybe are borderline needing medication. Let's try this. If after that you still need medication, then great, you're on medication, that's fine, like whatever you need. But why aren't we owning that? That's what's driving me nuts. And why are we still looking down on this relaxation fluff, blah, 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 when, like, if we're going to stand on any sort of evidence, it's right there. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely got to be something that I'm sure we're not the only two massage therapists out there alone. It just seems, I feel like for a really long time, anybody who is anybody in the massage therapy world has denounced the relaxation side for so long that all of us are so, like, meek and wanting to, like, stand up for it. But here we are, Heather, because we're doing it. And
Yeah.
if you're with us, you're with us. And if you have completely opposite view of us and think that
That's
relaxation is absolutely nothing, that is totally great. We'd like to have more of a conversation with you on that, because honestly, most of the studies like that out there is literally massage therapy is shown to, is shown to literally relax people. That is what it does. And there's nothing wrong with that. We work on the soft tissues and joints to prevent dysfunction and pain. A really tense muscle produces pain and dysfunction. So why don't we relax the muscle to decrease pain and dysfunction? We need to like really look at like those are what we do in our scope of practice. And when you look at the physical part, we have to look at the like whole mental part of it too. And generally that's sort of like where that sort of gray area comes into with massage therapy, because we're not trained to be counselors or anything like that, but I don't think you need to be. I think there's a lot to be said in just most people I think can work on what they need to work on their own, given the right tools, and they're professionals for that. But I think a lot of people just really want their bodies to feel better, because a lot of people in their mind is my traps are really sore and I know I'm stressed, but I can't deal with the stress at work. It is what it is, but I just really need my neck not to be adding to that, right? So if I can make your neck and shoulder knot hurt, you can now better cope and manage whatever other stress that's causing it to be better, right? I think that's even with like the like acute stuff where people are just like, oh, I was just looking in my fridge and I turned my head and all of a sudden I got this horrible shooting pain in my neck. We all know that when someone says that, it wasn't that spontaneous. Clearly something had been going on for quite a while, just it hadn't crossed their threshold of their barrier of their brain to notice it yet. But yeah, I don't know. I really think it's funny how RMTs really don't own the relaxation. But if you go into, I want to throw out there 95% of massage therapy clinics, they got the Buddhas and the salt lamps and the nice warm colors on the wall.
What do you explain yourself as again? You're the one that has your little Buddha and your salt lamp right beside your clinical orthopedic.
Yeah. Literally on the shelf. Yeah, I have a Buddha and a salt lamp and an oils, and then right below it I have like a neurofunctional pain diagram with like what nerves do what, and my acupuncture leads, and then my orthopedic massage book right beside it. So yeah. I really like the blend of the two, and I think more RMTs would maybe do a lot better if they didn't feel like they couldn't do that, you know? Like if I say that I do relaxation massage, am I now not as educated or as, I don't even know, productive, or I don't know, like am I really not doing what other RMTs are doing? And I don't think that's the truth. I think we really need to like love on the fact that we have this great opportunity to access this part of the human anatomy and mind that others don't. I like it. I think it's great. So
now I want to throw out one other reason that I think relaxation is looked down upon, and I'm going to throw it at what I think is a big influence: insurance companies.
Yeah, true.
I think so, because insurance companies, like RMT is the only ones because they provide therapeutic, and it has to be therapeutic. And so then that's where the distinction between therapeutic and spa relaxation starts to waver, I think. I think that insurance companies have a big influence on it, because they're influencing how we get paid, in a sense, for people who, majority of our clients, a lot of RMTs, their clients pay via benefits. So they're kind of dictating that, which is influencing the government, CMTO, all of that, to create their standards. And then schools are creating their curriculums based on the standards set out
Mm-hmm.
by the CMTO. So it's really, I think the insurance companies, I'm just going to say it, have a big stronghold in that, in affecting both from an RMT side and from a client side. Because a client is only going to go see an RMT because they're like, oh, my insurance says I have to see a therapeutic RMT.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes that could be their driving force of them saying, like, I want therapeutic and not relaxation because they're worried that their benefits won't cover it. And maybe a less confident RMT who maybe doesn't have the terminology or the experience, that if an insurance company came back and said, like, well, were you providing therapeutic massage, and they were doing just, again, quote, just relaxation, to not have the skills or the confidence to put forth the argument that what I did, even though, maybe my notes don't say that I did some joint mobs of the shoulder and some trigger point work and stretching and this, but what I did was still therapeutic,
Mm-hmm.
Could then influence an RMT to be like, well, I don't do it, and be afraid to say that, like, I don't do relaxation massage. You know what I mean? I that was just something else that was playing in my mind of, I think insurance companies play a role in that.
Mm-hmm, they totally
Mm-hmm.
do. I'll share this little nugget. When you said that, it reminded me of it.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with a chiropractor who, when she went to go get her like doctor referral notes and all of those types of things, for massage and all of that, her doctor referral note had to say that she was coming for massage therapy for back pain because her insurance company only felt that massage helped with backs. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, it was something to that, like, notion, like massage only rub backs. So she's a doctor. She would literally go to her doctor would write her a script to say that she needed massage therapy for her back. And you know what I mean? Like, it was like, wow, like, that is terribly sad and such, like, a disservice to everyone for that. And insurance companies are there to make money. And because massage is like so good in so many, and it really does just make you feel good, which is a whole wellness piece.
Mm-hmm.
People are more apt to use massage therapy when they don't, quote unquote, have like a need for it, even though that's not true. I've never seen anyone come in that doesn't need some sort of massage therapy treatment. So simply the fact that they felt that they came in and they needed to like decompress is a need. But because of that, and insurance companies don't like paying out, they need to have these stipulations where you can and can't use it, right? Which is absurd.
Well, and that's the thing. It's so frustrating is that insurance companies too, I find, if they're not going to pay out on somebody on a therapy, or they're going to create issues around paying out on a certain therapy, it's typically massage. Yes. They don't want to pay out for massage, which is wild because, like we talked about in our last about chronic pain and low back pain, costs insurance companies as well as the healthcare system, especially in Canada, because we have universal healthcare. It is millions of dollars yearly on short-term disability and lost time claims.
Yes.
But they want to make it difficult for people to get massage therapy that can be used in a reactive treatment as well as a preventative. And like I know you're on the same page with me with this, is that we usually have people that come in this reactive phase. Something's happened, injuries happening, pain's happening, and they want out of that. But our goal is to get them on a preventative maintenance, consistent, see me, however that works for them, their body, their wallet, their time. But I want to get them to preventative maintenance. I don't want to just fix them and see you later. I'll see you when you hurt yourself again. Like, kind of what happens with physiotherapy a lot.
Which
And
is a disservice to them. They could
yeah,
be way better utilized, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so a lot of my treatments, they always have the relaxation focus, but they could be more treatment focused in the beginning to get them out of the pain a bit quicker. And then I want to move them to this more global whole body treatment, therapeutic relaxation work, focus on the mind and the body and the spirit or emotion, whatever you want to call it, kind of all in one,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to help with not causing more injuries later. That bending over to pick up a pencil and you throw your back out with my preventative care, my preventative treatment plans will be, a half hour, an hour, a day of soreness versus laid up for a week or two.
Mm-hmm. And to that, you sort of made me think about when you're talking about like preventative and all of that. A lot of times, well, not all the time, every time you do a massage, you need to have a treatment plan. And in that treatment plan, you need to have treatment goals. And I think people think that relaxation massage doesn't have any treatment goals other than to put someone to sleep and to leave feeling like sleepy. Relaxation can have a lot of very tangible goals that you can actually monitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure most, if not all, massage therapists, pretty sure it's part of a curriculum where we have to learn how to use a blood pressure cuff and stethoscope. So just in that, because we like to be treatment goal or based. If you feel that relaxation doesn't have any end treatment goals or tangible way of being was this effective? You can start there. You know what I mean? You can say, we are doing this relaxation massage because you have all this stress and hypertonicity. So I can, decrease all the muscles, but you can actually take someone's blood pressure reading. You can do a heart rate count. You can count their breaths per minute. These are all tangible things within a massage treatment that you can track before and track after and use them as a way to build a whole treatment plan. Just asking if someone feels good or feels relaxed doesn't have to be your basis in whether or not that was a good treatment or not. You know what I mean? That scientific focus, if that's where you're at and you live in that realm, I love it. I'm there too. But if that's why you don't do relaxation, I think you have to look at the parameters of how you can actually track what relaxation and means.
Yeah, I challenge a skeptical RMT or one that calls it fluff to use a goniometer too.
Yeah.
Do some shoulder, just do shoulder range of motion because that's the easiest to measure before somebody gets on a table with the clothes still on. Do hips too. Do thoracic, just active range of motion, some passive range of motion, because again, I think it comes back to redefining relaxation. Relaxation doesn't always have to also be that your client literally lays there and you work around them. I pull some joint movement, very relaxed, very mindful, almost assisted stretching. Nothing, and even just getting the joint through the range of motion. When somebody's prone, I love to scoop under the head of their humerus and cup the inferior angle of their scapula and bring their scapula into some ranges of motion and see how the scapulothoracic movement and everything is going. And honestly, just doing that, and things you can include low grade oscillating joint mobilizations into a relaxation in quotes again treatment, and not have to do trigger point deep tissue muscle stripping, really specific muscle stripping. Long deep strokes is relaxation. And I bet you will get an increase in joint range of motion.
Absolutely.
I challenge any RMTs out there that call it fluff. Do an experiment. Do an exchange if it's not with a client. Do an exchange and see what happens, because again, just like blood pressure and heart rate, you can't deny those quantifiable measurements.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with like those and that techniques, you've touched on it a few times in a few different podcasts with like deep pressure and stuff like that. Deep pressure doesn't mean that it has to hurt either. I think that's a big thing in my practice is like, I personally don't like it to hurt. Not that person. So when I say that I start light, what I'm doing is I am like clearing that field and I'm desensitizing any of those hypersensitive nerves. I'm calming them, I'm relaxing them so that when I do go deep, I'm not hitting all those superficial sensory nerves, right? Like they've already been turned off. So when I'm getting in there deep, it doesn't feel like I'm pressing through every layer because the layers I'm pressing through have already been treated, right? Through more superficial, more relaxing, calming tones. Like that's sort of like the whole like point. Like I don't know. I do definitely go deep. I have a lot of clients who they underestimate it.
Yeah. Same.
But it's because it doesn't have to feel deep, right? To be deep, it doesn't have to feel deep.
Yeah.
And
again,
I think
comes back to your intention. I think.
Yes, your intention.
I cut you off.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly it. It comes back to your intention, and relaxation can be a very valid intention as a massage therapist. It is quantifiable. It can be a part, you're trying to show someone how to diaphragmatic breathe to get them through their stressful day and activities of daily living. You're giving them those home care coping mechanisms on how to relax and be mindful and calm. And I'm pretty sure every RMT can attest to the fact that clients come in and they know when I'm stressed, I wear my shoulders like earrings, right? So teaching them how to relax their muscles on their own through like mindful like relaxation techniques is key. And you will literally have people coming back over and over and over again if you don't teach them how to have their body be at a more normal resting tone within that parasympathetic nervous system. That is really big, like cornerstone of it, right? Like we see all those hypertonic muscles and irritated nerves, and we need to teach our clients how to take themselves out of that space and how to teach their mind to tell their body to relax, right?
Yeah.
Through breathing. I don't know. I remember my very first massage class was actually diaphragmatic breathing. They had us all sit down, and it was one of, I might have said it in the very first podcast we did. It was one of the ones that sold me on it. I was just like, this is so cool. Your diaphragm is a muscle. I think we've all forgotten it is a muscle. It does get tight. And when you're in that state of like short, deep breaths, it gets really tight and contracted, which can cause you to have back pain, right? I remember explaining to a chiropractor who I was treating once, he was saying how he hadn't been able to exercise in a while, and he came for massage and it helped his back, and then he went to playing soccer, and he was like, like I thought my back would hurt, but it didn't. It felt so much better. And I was like, well, were you like huffing and puffing? And he's like, yeah, I was. And I'm like, well, like you're stretching all those intercostal muscles that you probably haven't used in a really long time. That's why exercise is such like a powerful tool in our full body wellness, and like why we hurt and don't hurt. Like you can't stretch an intercostal muscle without actually expanding your rib cage. If you're never expanding your rib cage by taking a really deep breath, right? So like it all plays into that. Like we deal with back pain every day. So like it's you know what I mean? Like it's like we're just hitting like a small piece of the puzzle, and relaxation is relaxing muscle. That maybe we need to figure out a different term for it. Heather, maybe you and I should brainstorm on it.
We should.
Because I don't know how we can as therapists, maybe we need to either redefine or come up with a new term that we throw out there, because we literally are here to, a huge part of what we do is to relax muscles into better states of muscle tension, but we don't want to do relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't be the case, I don't think.
I
don't think that works.
I agree. I'm also just going to throw it out there that, again, throwing more of these therapeutic treatments, relaxation treatments, global, going back to your basics of specific general, and specific doesn't have to get, I'm thumb kneading this one spot in the glute.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? This general, specific general, you're going to have more longevity as a therapist. You're going to be able to treat more people and not be in pain yourself and treat longer and have a longer career. So honestly, it is something that I think we shouldn't be calling fluff. We shouldn't be justifying. Therapists that do focus on relaxation shouldn't feel like they need to justify it. And therapists who maybe don't, but also throw it in when it's needed with a client, to not justify it or demean it in any way. I don't think it's respectful. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's professional.
For sure.
And if you don't understand, then ask a question. And if you're another therapist that doesn't understand, I'm pretty sure if you meet another therapist and you want to know what their techniques are, do an exchange. I don't think any therapist is going to say no to that.
No, RMT community is very welcoming. I think we all were like, yeah, we'll do some free massages. I think I haven't met an RMT who doesn't love having massages themselves. So yeah, absolutely. I think we have a lot to learn from each other. And I don't know, as a community, I feel like RMTs, we're really lucky that we do have each other's back, except for this one term, and you and I noticed it. And I think we also had noted it too in like a few other podcasts that we listened to. And it just kind of like, it was weird. We had that conversation. I was like, why do they keep saying this? Like, what does this mean?
Talking about it as a dirty word and demeaning it like that, it's less than. And
you have to justify it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
in
our treatments, like, oh, I don't do that, like fluff relaxation stuff. It's like, well, I do. I'm just going to say it. Like, why does it have to be that way? It's just like, okay, you know what I mean? And maybe it's not your focus, but that's okay. You just look at it differently than I do. And I mean, you're still doing it, by the way, I don't know, I'm going to throw it out there to any of those RMTs that say they're not doing relaxation, they're not doing fluff. You probably are. You're just not focusing on it as something, as a really great tool in your toolbox. You're just grazing it over, and you're working way harder than you need to, for sure.
Yeah,
right?
Work smarter, not harder. And you're a testament to it in the sense of, you do all ends of the spectrum, if we're going to call it a spectrum. And you've been practicing for 10 plus years now, and you have a really full practice. Like, I think that right there is a testament to the importance plays in people's lives and their health and their wellness and their reactive as well as preventative health.
Mm-hmm. People don't use any sort of healthcare for any other reason than they want to stay healthy and feel better.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Most clients find their way to massage therapy. I think I had mentioned, I think through the whole, I have stress type of environment. Most clients find their way into it. So when they come in and they say, I have this injury and I'm really stressed, I think just to be like, oh, we're not going to worry about the stress part.
Yeah.
Doesn't really help them.
You don't have the full puzzle.
Yeah. Treat them as a whole person, mind, body, spirit, bio, social, psycho, whatever.
Yeah.
You just gotta, know what you do and what your hands are totally capable of. Yeah. I don't know. I like relaxation.
Do you feel that your chest is now free of this dirty word?
Yes, I do. I feel so much better. Definitely. Because I don't know why it has to be
playing on it.
Why not? Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Come at me if you don't think relaxation is anything at all. I'll get you some testimonials from the 100+ clients of mine.
Let's have a conversation about it. If you disagree, I'd love to talk to anybody.
Absolutely, actually. Honestly, if somebody wants to talk to us about it and tell us we're wrong, we'd love to hear why. Because I haven't seen it.
Yes.
And I know you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our RMTs would be in the same boat if we could all just be honest with ourselves.
Yep.
And not feel like we have to pretend that we're not doing that, because we are. And it's great. And it's amazing. And when we are living in a time like we are right now, where so many things are unknown, anxieties are high, there's so much fear in the world right now, I think massage therapy, if we allow it to be, can be something that's really positive. And when we all do get to go back to work and do all the wonderful things we do, I think that it can be a really strong piece of our healthcare system,
and help the
even
world
feel better. You know what I mean? Like, just an FYI, like I see it as, this might be like a whole different thing, but after we all get back to work, we're entering into a new world after this. People are afraid to be within 6 feet of each other right now. So imagine being hands on that close to a person. We're gonna have a lot of people who are really afraid, and rightfully so. It's scary out there with COVID-19, and I think we need to show people that when it is safe, and however it is to be safe, it's okay to have that human connection. We're going to see a lot of mental health issues come out of this, I think, from the lack of physical connection. That has, in the hundreds of years of society, thousands of years society, one of the big things is that people need people. So it'll be interesting to see how the massage therapy emerges from this. And I understand right now that a lot of us RMTs, I know in Canada, in Ontario, feel like we just got a really big slap in the face, being deemed non-essential. I will say I did too. I initially was like, what do you mean non-essential? I could give you hundreds of names of people who think I'm pretty damn essential. And it's not about being non-essential. It's about being non-emergency. And we will find our place outside of this. I think we need to have a serious conversation with our association, the RMTAO, and the CMTO, because I know the CMTO regulates the public interest in keeping them safe. But they do have a piece where we're self-regulated. So if we want to see the change, we need to advocate for ourselves in the right way. Going out there and calling each other names and the things I've seen online recently about how massage therapy, and I think I did see somewhere, and this irked me too, someone said, we're not essential. We don't save lives. Absolutely, we don't. And then someone had mentioned something about massage therapy being just relaxation. And it's like, well, being relaxed and not in fight and flight all the time is actually quite an emergency we are seeing in our society right now. It is causing all of the top 10 illnesses that we see, that is costing our healthcare system so much money. So we do have a place. We do have an essential place in healthcare. We just don't have an emergency place right now. So I think we all need to take a deep breath and work on work on ourselves in that.
And prepare ourselves, because we will have a role in healing society and healing the world once the non-emergency has passed and we can all go back to work. We are going to have a hand in helping people with that. And so I hope massage therapists out there are preparing themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, their skill sets. Use this time to add to your toolkit and prepare for us to go back and help and lean into the fact that we can significantly reduce mood disorders and help
Yes.
with mental health and stress and burnout. And that's where I like to take my practice, but I hope others lean into that as well as the physical aspects as well. So yeah.
Yeah, the physical manifestation of the stress that
Yeah.
we're going to see. It is going, I don't think we normally swear or anything on our podcast, but it's going to be a shitstorm. It is going to be an absolute chaotic storm of anxiety and fear and depression and all of those things. And people are going to be looking to us.
Yeah.
There's no one else who does it quite like we do.
Yep.
And everybody who works from home sitting at their kitchen table are going to have all sorts of postural dysfunction.
Their makeshift workstations.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we need to start brushing up on that and really loving the fact that we can offer people that sort of safe place for their mind and body and in the relaxation realm. I'm excited to help people and do it from that perspective. I know I've already gotten inquiries from, I'm sure most RMTs have, from frontline workers, and they're burnt out and they're looking for massages. And I've said, we're not essential. And they're just, and I've given one some a chiropractor that I know information. And she said, thank you very much. But she feels she just really needs to line the table and someone just to take the weight off of her. Do you know what I mean? And that's really cool that we get to be that. Be that therapist, be those people. And that doesn't mean that you're not doing therapy.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're not doing therapeutic anything at all. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but that's well timed with this, I think.
Yeah.
It's fun, right?
For sure. For sure. Alrighty. Any last thoughts?
No, I think that's good. I feel better about that, Heather.
Perfect.
I'm glad we got to it.
Yeah. So now, do you know what time it is?
Is it RMT time?
You betcha. It's RMT time. What are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a tea from Steep Tea. It's called Vanilla Dream. It is a black tea, which is going to keep me up all night, which is also why
again.
Yeah, which is also why my heart was probably beating out of my chest on top of the topic. I was trying to just I'm sure you're going to hear me taking a breath because I was trying running a mile a minute because of it, but it's delicious. It literally just tastes like vanilla beans.
Vanilla, my favorite. I love vanilla. Yeah.
What are you drinking, darling?
I am drinking, you guessed it again, David's tea. I am a David's tea fanatic. I was going to use a more inappropriate word, but it's new. It's part of their new, I don't remember what it was called, fantasy line or something. It's called Unicorn Dream. It is a caffeine free. It's a fruit infusion. It has apple, hibiscus, coconut. It has marshmallow, unicorn sprinkles, heart sprinkles, sugar pearls, candied papaya, butter pea flower. So it does have that bit of a blue tinge to it. It's really good. It has a little bit of a desserty vanilla kind of flavor to it, but it very fruity. Lemongrass is in there too. Yeah. It's very cute. And I really like the little white unicorn sprinkles and little heart sprinkles.
That's so cute.
It's useful, but I like it. It brings a smile to my face right now.
Who doesn't like unicorns at a time? It's the little things in life that make the world go round.
My little unicorn. My parents made fun of me because I clearly was starting to run out of tea, and like I said, in the loosest sense of term, when I say run out of tea, and I had to make a tea order from David's Tea, and they were like, "Oh, David's delivers?" I said, "Yeah, their online store is probably bigger than their in-store store."
Nice. And you're just yeah. That's awesome.
I ordered tea.
Self-care.
Other
Self-care.
People are running they're running to the LCBO and the beer store. I'm running David's Tea to stock up.
Absolutely. We all have our vices, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for listening.
Mhm.
We look forward to recording many more podcasts. Please be sure to tune in on your favorite podcast streaming app and rate us where you can. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover, please share and let us know in the comments, wherever those are. You can definitely go over to YouTube. This should be up within the next 24 to 48 hours on YouTube, and you can definitely leave us a comment there. Or if there's a topic you'd like us to cover, please let us know, and we'll take care and see you next time.
See you next time.